All right, we call this meeting to order.
In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which our organization stands is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epiquik PEI Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future.
Declarations of conflict of interest. None here. Approval of agenda. I so approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Is that a copy of the agenda over there?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
Okay. Agenda, so approval of agenda. Minutes of the regular council meeting of March 12, 2025, and special council meeting of March 26, 2025.
I'll move to approve those.
Oh, and I have a comment. It's for both sets of minutes, also for the special council meeting. There's no mention that we're going to put legal fees in extraordinary expenses and the extra expenses, but we did discuss and make provision for legal fees in the coming year. There's no mention here.
Do I need to adjust the minutes?
I don't know what the exact wording is in the minutes. John, do you got in there?
I'm sorry?
Do I need to adjust the minutes?
Well, it's, the other issue that I brought up was addressed and that one wasn't. And I'm just bringing that to our attention that as long as everyone knows there could potentially be surprise legal bills in the coming year, and where are we going to put them? It's happened before.
And in our conversations, we had said that we would pull from the reserve fund
Yes.
for extraordinary.
Was that,
Yes.
was that in the special or the regular?
The special.
That was in the special.
Yeah, because I was here for the regular, so I wouldn't.
So, increase the property tax, okay, so we put it in there.
In the event of extraordinary legal fees, we will use funding from the reserve.
It wasn't just extraordinary legal fees, it was just that things that we might want to take advice on before proceeding on, but we should have a legal consultant, one of the auditing and professional
Yeah, so,
fees.
okay, so we'll either add room into the professional fees for that in the budget and or.
Sure.
Just know that where it's coming from when it shows up.
So we'll have to make a motion to the amendment.
So it just would be to approve the minutes and the special ones are amended.
Okay. Do you want to do that, Gary? You Maybe the
Gary
first
and
motion.
Marlene. So Gary and Marlene, Gary moved, Marlene seconded.
Okay.
And there is amended. Okay, as amended, yeah.
All in favor? No delegations. Business arising from previous meetings, Parks and Recreation, Deputy Mayor McKay.
now on, this should go to Councillor,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Go ahead, Kelly, apparently you've got a new member.
Yes, Oscar. Oscar Kemp.
Where's he from?
Ontario Summer.
Okay.
This is sharing voices.
Oh,
Now his house.
okay, good.
Do you know where I need for point of reference?
Yeah.
So now we have 3 people on the committee, we can pass a resolution, make it official.
Yep.
Myself,
He's young and
Kelly's
plays
lead,
good
myself,
golf
and
was
Ms.
out there.
Oscar.
I thought so. The other thing we should. Yes, well, maybe. Shut up if you drive around.
So then,
It's
all I have-
interesting new game in this yard. So frisbee and a tree of some sort.
Basket, disc golf,
This what's it called?
disc golf,
Disc golf.
disc, because it's a disc.
Mhm.
all that I have for a motion that council hereby approve the creation of a Parks and Recreation Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor?
What about the meeting with the families?
That was me, I reclused myself from that because.
What's that from?
The meeting with
The
the
meeting
families.
with the,
The kids?
yeah,
Me and Gary had that meeting.
is that gonna be talked about later or not?
Anne has it in her report, I think, doesn't she, or somebody, I read it somewhere in the,
I wanted to bring it up so everybody's aware of what happened.
Yeah,
it might have been in,
Yeah, I think
Committee
it
report?
was in the committee report.
So we will touch base on it there, Paul.
okay.
You're getting ahead of yourself. So, we're on to the Canadian postcard.
Nothing new there.
Nothing new there? Okay. Rentals, Councillor Chapman and Ann Burnett.
so were we gonna probably rent something? I don't know, I also noticed that this came up somewhere twice in the report, we can talk about it here now. I left that meeting with the understanding that people didn't feel like there needed to be a report or an agreement. But I'm happy to revisit that and support that process if we do feel like there needs to be one. The information about the increase was passed along shortly after the meeting. I didn't receive much feedback. A lot of people were like, well, we knew this was coming, right? Because it had been discussed when they were here. And there was one individual who felt it was unfair that it wasn't across the board, for the other user groups as well. But that's the extent of the feedback, and I haven't, taken any other action since that time.
It was across the board for everyone.
We had agreed that it was just pickleball.
What about floor curling?
Good on.
Didn't,
The rationale behind increasing for pickleball was because of the scuffs and the wear and tear on the room.
And floor curling doesn't scuff the floor?
They don't scuff the walls.
No,
it's the walls.
they have to be repainted each year.
Did you want to revisit it?
Well, I think we should treat everybody equally. I don't think we should be pointing to one user group. There's wear and tear and maintenance on the building. We know that's coming. And some people create it. What does the market create? I don't know. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying we should treat everybody equally across the board.
Well, in my opinion, we can't, because they have completely different users. If you're a rook attendant, and you're sitting down playing cards, it's a completely different animal than playing pickleball. So I don't agree with that, John. I think we have to treat them differently because of the different level of wear and tear on the facility.
I don't know if we shouldn't go back to item 3, declaration of conflict of interest, because there is a definite hate on for the pickleball people, and it's been going on
That's
for.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. We've been
That's not
bending
fair.
over backwards. In all honesty, we have. I went in here not long, well, a couple months ago now, that was after the walls were everything was all painted up. Within 3 weeks, there was marks all over the walls from the rackets. And I can go in and I can show you them gone, unless it's been painted just lately, but they're everywhere. And it's like, they also wanted the sound thing moved, we were gonna accommodate that. And so they decided to back out of that, I mean, that's their choice, but, I mean, what they're doing in there all the time, whacking on the walls, I mean, they don't need to be whacking on the walls.
I have occasionally, not regularly, I don't play pickleball.
Me either.
But when I'm here, I stop in and I watch a few games and say
Yeah.
hello to people. They're not hitting the walls with their rackets.
I'm not saying every time, but I'm saying it does happen. I can walk you in there right now and show you where there's stripes on the wall like this long from where a racket is hit.
Marks get there somehow.
That's right. I mean, I'm looking out for the community center. I mean, I had one guy message me here, he's been hounding me for pickleball nets and posts put in over here. I said, there is a spot over here in the rink you can use. I said, outside of that, I said, our budget is small, which it is, you know that yourself, John. We do very small margin work with it. So then he sends me back another message with about a net and posts and all of this, but no cost for putting it in and how much it was gonna cost us if we wanna get it through Amazon. And I was just like, I'm not even addressing it. Because I mean, there is one out there, if they wanna go and get in that and that, I'll gladly help them put it in.
But we also,
But it's like,
we had a conversation about that where they very clearly told us they did not want to play outdoors.
Yeah. so I mean,
Well, who pays for the soccer nets?
what?
Who pays for the,
They were through the
Gas tax.
gas tax.
we have ways and means, and I'll just say, and I realize I'm the minority one here, but I feel that there is a real.
Oh, I get that feeling too
Yeah,
from some of them,
this
John, I
council.
do. I get that feeling too, that it's like, we gotta hate on, there's no hate on for nobody. I'm just here to make sure the community center is in respectable shape, not all banged up and looking like whatever you wanna call it, but it's, you know. And I mean, it's not continuous, it's happening, but it is happening.
Okay, I'm not blind to maintenance issues, and I'm in the big room several times a week.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I've seen anything jump out at me as this is damage that needs to be repaired.
Well, it has-
Annual maintenance, yes.
It stuffs on the wall, you can see them. I'm not saying they're smashing the drywall or that, but I mean, you can see the marks on it. And it didn't come from a little old lady in there selling a pair of slippers or whatever, or a jar of jam. I know that. You know, I'm not against them. I'm not against these people being healthy and wanting to be.
Okay.
It's just, you know, one person's been messaged me 2 or 3 times this winter over, and it's just becoming, you know, I don't have a problem. We put it up $1. I'm sorry if we had to put it up, but it's just
I have
for
no
the
qualms with
maintenance.
putting the fees up to
You know.
$3.
And I mean, I've got nothing against them. Go ahead, play your 3 days a week or whatever they're playing. It's no difference to me, but just respect the place. You know, whether it's a game, sometimes it gets a little seriouser than you think. I know I've seen a few games here and some of them get there's a certain few who get pretty serious about their games. They don't want to lose.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all I'm getting
Yeah.
at. I mean, I've got no hate on for nothing. And I
I
don't
don't
think
think
anybody
any
else does
council
either.
member is
No.
any age.
I'm glad to see it being used. I just don't want to see damage to it.
I don't wish to be the person to delay this item in this meeting. Could we just record that I think that user fees should be increased across the board and all users be treated equally rather than separate this one group.
Is there anybody else that would like to see that issue reconsidered? because if so, we could bring it back.
And where did we land on an agreement with pickleball? We don't have an agreement with anybody else. So is it necessary?
It's probably not necessary.
It's probably not
It's not
necessary.
very possible to,
Lay out
make-
everything, yeah. And the thing that I find challenging there too is like, who signed that?
Mm,
You know, and on behalf of who, because it's a fluid
Yeah,
user group. So, yeah, I think continue.
Did we land on who's paying and who's not paying? I did see in the minutes where there was talk about, that, you know, it would be free for certain events and that, but we do have users who currently do not pay to use the facilities. Is that going to continue?
There were decisions
It's on
made.
page 2, what
Yeah.
WI gets it for free. Funerals are free.
I'm sorry, I must just missed that.
Everybody else pays.
Okay, if it's, everybody else pays, I do know there's,
There was an option that Anne has now where she could give a discounted rate to a charity. Okay, yeah, so we did provide for that, but no saying like charities get it free or like no new groups getting it free.
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
so move on to the January 8th meeting, delegations.
So the letter was created and sent out to Stephen Bell, thanking him for the offer, so that item's been complete.
February 12th, meeting, do some money donated in memory of that. We were touched on that, didn't we? This is old.
So it was just
I talked.
the go ahead and use it. And then also, just to give you an update on that, the curtains are in manufacturing this week. They should be shipped out next week, so by the 21st,
Okay.
we'll have them, and then we'll need somebody to put them up.
And I think Rob and Mike have offered to do that. Prior to doing it, I'm actually going into Charlottetown tomorrow. So I'm gonna stop by, there's a company in Charlottetown, their name's Gemini. And what I'd like to do in order to honor Faye is I'd like to see if we could get monogrammed on the inside corner, bottom corner of each curtain to have the FF at the bottom of it. I'm not sure if they can do it, but I'm gonna check and see.
That
Are
would
we
be
having a
nice.
plaque as well in the stand?
Yeah.
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 The moniker.
I like that.
Nice idea.
That's a nice little plaque.
What account is paying the balance of the new curtains? I know that money in honor of Faye is coming, it's going towards it, and she'll be acknowledged for that, but it doesn't cover it all.
No, it was, what did we get from Faye? Was it 14 something?
$1,435. So the
And-
balance is the RGI grant that we got.
Refresh my memory on
The
it.
Rural Growth Initiative grant for all the updates.
Correspondence. None. CAO report.
So speaking of Gemini,
They do those.
Dusty, the owner, was not a very happy camper, but he did agree to not charge us for the radio. So that invoice went from $3,000 to $483. So,
To you, Anne.
I'm happy about that. Yeah, so I guess we can give Gemini another shot at stuff.
I think
If
it's a
they'll
different
take-
company,
if
because
they'll
this is
take our
a screen printing company?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they do signs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would suggest,
Tell them we're in trouble.
Don't mention
They'll misspell something.
I would suggest a different salesperson than Mark.
Okay,
Because Mark has a hate on for the village now.
okay, I will keep that in the back of my mind.
Carlos and Chad are gonna come out eventually and put the other camera in the community fridge. I was just talking before the meeting, I had a conversation with Tracy Allen from Municipal Affairs about a 5-year, what was it, Gary?
Asset management.
Asset management that we are supposed to have. And who knew? I also found out our playground is supposed to be inspected once a year. Who knew?
That's like a good idea.
Good idea.
Yeah,
But I,
Yeah.
if I don't know, I don't do, right? So, and then
Maybe it would have been in the asset management plan.
I could expect.
And who would do that? Who would?
She sent me the link, so I emailed
Oh,
them asking
okay.
for some
And the
information.
government document inspected.
Yeah.
Send it up.
Comes and goes.
And walks
You
away.
need to do this, you need to do that.
Yeah, we did have our kitchen inspection from John at PEI Health, and it was gleaming.
Good, good.
That's all I got. Yeah. Any questions on the financials?
Looks pretty good.
I just did the quarterly check-in today, Gary, so I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Just for comparisons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely on the right side of the ledger, that's for sure.
So if there's no questions. Finish it.
A second.
All in favor? Reports and committees, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, there's no update on planning other than, you may see this letter in your package from the Housing, Land, and Communities government. That if we get into offering development control, land use planning, they will give us $25,000 in funding. Which would offset some of the costs if we ever go down that road. We're not, the last I heard was the end of this year, and I don't even know if that's still, that may be pushed out again for the official plan and bylaw. So, especially with their revamp of the Municipal Government Act, they probably are gonna not force that on us again. So if it ever happens, there will be money there to help us, I guess, so we'll see. Capital projects. See, there's a list there. We have to the end of the month to apply for, under the Canadian Community Building Fund. And these are, remember, these aren't anything new. All of these have been spoken about over the last several months at our meetings, and I've got most of these ideas from people at this table. But here's the list. And the trouble is, we don't know how much money we have to spend. I think we've got about $140,000, but Curtis has a different number. And he,
Something smaller.
yeah,
How much more?
less than 100. But I think that's wrong.
Yeah, but we padded a couple of projects pretty
Yes.
well
Yeah.
to try and allocate some of the money.
So there's money sitting in other projects that, again, said we had to revise the budgets on some of them, trying to, on the 11th hour, trying to meet their deadline of allocating all 500,000 to 100,000 a year over the next 5 years, the first 5 years, the new 10-year plan. And we got that submitted, and they made mistakes years ago. And that's what caused this to be all messed up. So, and they admit to that in writing, that their own people made a mistake bringing money forward from 1 year to the next for a project that never happened, or did it twice. But anyway, we're trying to get Curtis, the secretariat to tell us exactly what our target is. How much do we have that we can allocate? And it's unallocated. That's what he's looking for. He wants us to allocate all the 500 grand up for the first 5 years of this new plan. But we don't know what the number is. So we've got one project approved out of last year. That's the Main Street in, new walkway up to the cenotaph, the main door, the concrete pad. We have nothing else applied for. These are our 20 items that we've spoken about, in no particular order of priority or anything. But I'd like some idea. Let's say I'm gonna think we've got $140,000 in there to spend. Are any of those jumping off the page and anybody saying, yeah, this has got to be one of our priorities, or there's some on there that I can see right away there's funding elsewhere for, like that.
And
The
funding that wouldn't qualify.
And some that wouldn't qualify under the community building fund either.
So can you tell us the ones that will not qualify?
Well,
That makes it easier,
yeah,
Gary, than
it's-
us trying to get,
Well,
doesn't
I'm
it?
a bad person to ask that, because I thought we were gonna get one approved for over here, and they denied it, so it's like a moving target.
Okay, but
anyway.
once you know would not be
Yeah.
there.
Well,
I'd like to ask about the seniors housing.
yeah,
Over the past several weeks, I've had the opportunity to visit the facility behind the post office, 38 Church Street. And I can't find actually who owns that. I understand it's provincial, but I haven't really,
Yeah.
it's government, but I haven't got through to who owns it.
Okay.
Because there are some issues there with the residents that somebody needs to speak up on their behalf, and I just want to push it in the right direction. But I'm wondering what the land is available there. Is there opportunity to replicate another building like that on the same site that we could get the government to build? Or expand an existing facility, which is a wonderful walking distance to everything, rather than develop a new property. It's already on this.
I don't think we got land though.
I don't know how much is costed behind the new house, behind the new building, behind Jerry's new house. Who owns that?
Yeah, I
You see, I just
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know who owns it, to be honest with you.
And I'm just
Anyway,
wondering
his
if we could-
father owned
Yeah.
some of it there. I don't know how far though, but I don't think he owned, was Donnie and Betty owned that?
They
piece?
own the piece, south of that.
Yeah, that's going to the west.
So anyway, I can't speak to what land is available or who we, but I'm seeing we have existing seniors housing with the infrastructure in place. And could we look at developing that further before we start looking at another new development? Because it's a great location, great
Oh,
facility.
Yeah,
And it
I would
keeps their
say-
seniors in their village.
Sorry?
It keeps the seniors
Yes.
in their village.
I would suggest though that before we even moved at expanding the seniors, we need to find out who owns that, and if there are issues, like, why would we expand it if the province is not going to take care of it?
Well, no, we can't say we want to expand it, I mean, but it's there. And obviously the province has that interest in seniors housing in Murray Harbor. Could we follow up with them before we go on developing a twin development?
is that a provincial or federal?
I think it's provincial.
Those are-
It is provincial. I called Darlene Compton's office and as a start, because it's in
Yeah.
near Darlene. And she's given me a number to call on accessibility to seniors residences. But I went through the whole building. There's nothing even on the wall that says, in case of emergency, call this number.
Yeah.
There's no identification, and the resident I know who lives there has no idea. So, but it is there, it's a nice facility, it's in the
It
village,
is.
and could we look at expanding that or working on what we've got before we start on?
well, I'll tell you right now that the housing number 4 there wouldn't be nearly enough money on.
Oh, no, I don't want to spend our $140,000 on it.
Yeah, okay, well,
I want the province to step in.
Well,
And then
Develop it,
you can scratch it. That's number 4 is out for that reason.
John, as far as who owns it, the sewer bill, I think, goes to PEI Seniors Housing.
Mhm.
Margaret would know for sure, or I can check afterwards for.
Okay.
for the sewage.
I'll check, so, yeah.
That would at least give you an area, somebody's paying the bill.
Well, yeah, I want to take this, I want to push it into someone who will look into this. Because I'm not, I'm sorry,
There's an office somewhere
sure
in
there
Montague,
is.
because I know my seniors have some. Yes, because when Nanny used to live there, someone used to come
Yeah.
and visit.
I mean, we've got seniors housing all over the province, who's responsible for this?
Yeah.
And can we get them to take on developing more rather than us doing it?
And maybe, I was just gonna make the comment, and maybe about this is more of a question than a comment. But I thought that when it comes to large, like development projects like that it's often, a 3 or 4-way kind of investment, right? That the feds will put money in the pot, so
Correct.
it's money in,
Yeah.
and maybe the council, and there could be a potential to leverage the building fund money to access those other funds. So I just don't know if this is a scratch necessarily off here. Like there might be a future rule, but I don't
Yeah.
know, I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Well, we should, just talk about that for a minute with John there. John, I wasn't aware that you were going over there and talking. If you're gonna look into it, maybe we should say, yeah, as a group, we'll go ahead and do it, and report back to us and let us know what.
I'm just doing it on behalf of one individual resident at the moment. That's not my only involvement with going there. I'm not looking to take on, the province and expanding it. But I'm just bringing to our attention that if we're looking at seniors housing, we've got a base to work on.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know which ones that would never be.
Okay.
Paint fish shacks, that would never be, that would never be.
Generator,
Number 16, generator is not.
No,
only if it's attached to a lift station.
Dairy bar, no. There wouldn't go with that.
The generator, just so that you know, now, once we've totally wrapped up the whole renovation of the kitchen dairy, I'm gonna start bugging Sonia to see if I can find pots of money for us to be able to get that
So
generator.
that's one that there is an alternate funding, there's gotta be.
I'm gonna find it,
Same as for EV, electric vehicle charging stations, there's gotta be other alternatives for that.
but that's off of this.
I thought that they were covered by a grant, those
Plug-in lanes?
plug-ins.
I thought I heard something about that too.
Well,
I don't
Not
think
these
walking
guys.
trails are covered.
Canada,
No,
no.
No, there's,
but what I might be,
recreation is a big
what I might
pillar,
be able
isn't
to
it?
do,
yeah, but it's not, it's about CCBF and what they will fund.
Yeah, but recreation is a big pillar of theirs.
No.
Yeah,
well,
well,
what we can do, and I won't give up on number 2, but we've got money, quite a bit of money still in the
I mean, we're putting.
The Heritage
in
Park.
pavement.
The Heritage Park has extra dollars, and so does the community garden.
Yeah.
And to make a trail, which I thought pretty along the back of here and almost there. So that still can happen with some of the existing money we've got.
Yeah.
And we have to change the scope a little bit if they'll agree to it.
I would question that as a priority. A trail
Sure,
along
that's
the
fair.
North side of the building, it's not very picturesque, it's in the shade, it's gotta be maintained, shoveled, kept clear. And it goes really from nowhere to nowhere, well, it goes from the front of the back building to the back of the building.
That's fair, in terms of whether it's a priority, I think we were talking about whether it has funding potential or not.
Yeah.
Anyway, you carry on, Gary, we're going down the list.
Splash pad, that's
that's huge, man.
huge, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We don't have the wherewithal this time around. An ATV trail, we don't own enough land.
Like, where would we put it, yeah.
I just see complaints coming in already.
Yeah. We allow
We
them to
can't
go
do
through
a
the
walk
harbor,
trail.
you know what I mean?
It would be allowed.
I mean, all I've asked for many of them, and I've said this many times, is go the speed limit. Go slow, take your time. Once you get outside the village, I don't have a problem. I know it's against the law, but, I mean, it only takes a couple to ruin it for everybody. I've seen a few, well, it'll be a month and a half ago now. I haven't seen them out ripping around lately. So I'm not gonna say no more, but I mean, for the most part, if they respect the rules, it's not a problem. They can go through the harbor. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we don't when we were kids. We gotta get out somewhere, right? So I mean, whether it's up the Avenue Road or if they're going across the bridge and down National Point Road and up the trails or whatever. But just respect the roads and the harbor.
They live on my road and
I don't care anymore. I used to.
Well, I mean, there's a point where you have a lot of people complaining about them ripping up and down, especially right in the harbor here. Because they like to get up on their two wheels, and I mean, they should have learned lessons from accidents that happened last year.
Yeah.
But there's some you just can't, so.
Is there any development on our removable speed bumps?
On removable speed bumps, I have to talk to, now from what I understand, Ann told me it costs money to have them replaced, put in and removed. I have to get hold of Alec on that, but I'm gonna go after him for one just as you go past the post office, right by Kelly's, just before her driveway, one put there, and another one just beside Jeff Bell's driveway. Because Jeff requested more than he asked me last year about it.
Another one that wouldn't be is kitchen cupboards.
No,
We'll find another way.
Yeah.
Let's slow down, let's.
Yeah,
We're jumping.
orderly.
We'll leave number 1 alone for a minute, I think that might be something. Number 7, indoor sports facility, I'm not sure what that related to. That was you, Marty? Maybe that. Somebody sent that to me.
It might have been, it might have came from like Facebook, right?
You're bad.
Oh, maybe.
Something like that, yeah, like a community member.
Skateboard park.
We used to kind of have one up here, like years
Where the
ago,
dog
the
park
kids know where
Is there many people with
the, I don't know if
skateboards?
anybody does that
No.
I
anymore.
don't think so.
Kind of group.
What?
So 80s.
Yes.
Well,
It'll be back soon, we could be ahead of the curve.
We'll scratch it for now. Museum. That's really not our mandate, I don't think there's a.
I'll just say on that, I mean, I know up in, where's that nice oyster, that nice restaurant? Cardigan? Anyway, they have a nice little museum up there. It's staffed, and it's interesting, and, there's never anyone in it.
Yeah.
And, it's a nice development project, but
Flooring in the hall, that's a definite possibility.
it's a museum it's not a one-off, it's a long-term commitment, and staff and development.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's a big job.
Yeah, circle 11 there. 14, expand the outdoor rink for skating and rollerblading.
Like, well,
Is there not room there already?
you
Yeah.
can't
The
use
golf
the
carts
surface.
there as it
That's
is.
the problem. You can't create an ice rink on that in the winter time, it's not designed for that.
No.
And, the other option was looking at potentially roller skating and rollerblading and using the shed. I'm happy to do the legwork for that. I just would love, I mean, we have a whole piece of asphalt that's used for 2 months out of the entire year. May and June for road hockey, that's it.
Oh, they're there now.
They're up there every,
No, but I mean, formally, it's May and June. That's
By
it.
play, you mean. It doesn't have to be for
the kids are playing up there. And I-
Yeah, and it would just expand what we could use it for. They would still be able to play road hockey. It's not about taking them off. It's expanding what we could use it for, like, Friday night skating party, for kids with roller skates in the summertime. And it's all lit, like, there's very little that we would have to actually do for it in order to make that happen. Maybe the council would, if we got the funding for it, we could look at buying skates and helmets for
So are
kids.
you gonna look at alternative funding for that thing?
No, it's just not alternative funding. I was going to look at, the development of
Like what it would take.
yeah,
Yeah.
just, because you and I talked about it earlier, Gary, and you had said that you thought you knew somebody we could talk to, and if not, I'll start looking myself and
You
see
talking
if
about
there's
the
somebody.
surfacing and painting? That?
Yeah, the surface and the
Yeah.
painting and, yeah.
I don't think we're gonna put it into this year. I have no idea what the cost would be. I think that's-
Just start figuring it out.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm circling the
Alternatives,
cover
stuff, right?
idea as well,
Mhm.
like just adding the value to that
Yeah.
asset that we
Yeah,
already have
exactly.
makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure it's big dollars.
I hope not.
Well, maybe
Probably the
smaller
color
things
will
you
be,
can do,
the
yeah.
cover will probably be the most
The only
expensive.
thing about an outdoor rink, this winter was a perfect example.
Yep.
What a disaster having an outdoor rink.
It's
The
not
weather just doesn't
predictable like
cooperate.
it was 20 years ago.
No, it's not.
We're
Well,
in a different
yeah.
phase now, and it's just,
You can spend $5,000 on that.
and it could sit there and be used for a ball hockey rink. You know?
But if we get the proper surface, it can still be used for roller skating.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, Ann and I had some conversations about it, and we even debated about whether or not it would ever be an ice skating rink, only for the simple reason that, in all fairness, is it right for us to compete with the deck? Because they provide a free rink every winter,
Yeah.
and maybe we wouldn't even look at an ice rink for that reason. We
No.
would just look at being able to extend this to include roller skating, which means right from March, when the boys start playing street hockey there, right up until October, November, we could actually use that surface.
Which they do now for ball hockey. Eh?
Community garden water well.
Oh, this one's 15. Cover rink for shelter from the weather.
Well, we kind of look
That's the same kind of one?
two of them together, yeah.
Yeah, garden water well, there might be alternatives to that, I guess.
Well, there is no well there. There was no well over there.
There's a hole in the ground.
There's a,
Yeah. It's,
there's nothing out there.
That's
So
it.
it's sticking out.
Yeah.
Does it just need a pump?
Yeah.
It's $2,000.
Let's do that.
Would you do that?
Go ahead. You guys do it, I'm not getting involved.
Come on, Gary.
I
wanna get
When you get your $2,000 spent, well, pump, I wanna come and see it.
Why,
Running hose across the
you
road.
looked into this before? Why can't you not just?
So what's wrong? Give us the info.
Well, I talked to a well driller, I said, we have a pipe to the ground. He says, well, is it stable, how deep is it? I have no idea. I'll have to come and inspect it. And probably it's full of sediment and crap in the bottom, right? It's probably not deep enough. He says, does it have to be potable? I said, well, I don't think it has to be drinkable, no, but it's gotta be, a good supply. He said, about 25,000.
Yeah, of course, he'd tell you that. I'm sure he would. I'm sure.
But anyway,
whoever took the
You
cap
might have an
out.
alternative with your project nectar agreement, right?
Well, I mean, I can speak to that now. I don't know, they're not, the latest update that I got there, it's still not clear. It sounds like they think United Way will fund part of some infrastructure upgrade towards water over there. But they certainly don't want it to be a big portion of their $25,000. So you're looking at an investment of probably $5,000 or less being available there, I would expect, but that's not their words yet,
Yeah.
right? They're just saying like, we'll do something, we're not gonna be the only funder of that, and it can't be taken away from.
And that idea is to bring it from here, right? Underground.
Well, that's what the project folks are looking at. They're looking at.
As long as
what are
it
different
doesn't,
ways to do it.
Has anybody tried to put anything down to see?
not that I know.
But when you're
It's a
talking
short
about money,
season. Why can't we run a hose from the community center?
I think that's exactly what.
Well, that's,
They were
I've
looking
given
at.
them that feedback, yeah. I mean, they're looking at different, they started with very grand ideas. So they're gonna be, anyway, I'm gonna speak to it later, but
'Cause that's probably the way to do
they,
it.
they don't have an answer to that. They have some potential funding from United Way. That's what I can tell you about it right now, but they do wanna come and talk to us next month in more detail about it.
A whole load of rain barrels too.
What's that?
A whole load of rain barrels.
Yeah, to the rain barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, and I gave them that feedback, right? Like, there's all kinds of different ways to come at that. And getting a well is a pretty big investment for a few garden trucks, right?
Thing with rain barrels is you need each trough to feed it. There's no building over there.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna draw the water from to fill the barrel? The hose?
Just put it in the over the landfill.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Just slide them up
Remember,
there.
rain get sometimes.
100-foot funnel.
Yeah, put some more underneath this, you take your one water supply going out to the garden. Shannon needs access to water.
You can get the word here too.
Yeah, so you need to have a split.
Yeah, you could have a split.
You just screw it on the end.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't want to affect the water supply to the building by a constant drain over there either. I don't know how much. Jackie says she wanted like a steady flow, like a drip into all the beds, or is it just?
Oh, yeah, sure, she wants
can't
everything.
see
She wants
the
regulations.
She wants it all, Gary, if you'll give
And I
it.
did it all.
No, what she wanted.
Jackie, which Jackie?
She's running that project next year with the Friendly
Jackie.
Seniors Group.
Where's
Bourgeois,
Southeast
she's
Environmental.
Southeast Environmental Association.
Oh,
Yeah,
Anyway, okay. 18, capacity building.
what did we get?
the water well, we just
Good
finished.
scratch.
Capacity.
I'm just looking
building.
at paying fish shacks. In that
That's
one,
not, that can't happen with this money.
well, no, but honestly, that's something that really would pick up
Oh,
and
yeah.
contribute so strongly to this village as a tourism opportunity, a photography opportunity. Is there no tourism money for this? I know there was an issue when Shana was doing it, some of the owners just didn't want them done. But is there any larger way of convincing them that this is is.
Go talk to the fisherman, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. So if we're up against a brick wall already.
You might have one that like,
Through the
you
harbor.
might have five, who knows?
Because the ones who agreed were over the moon happy, and they're
Okay.
spectacular.
You know,
And you go through Nova Scotia and the fishing villages are, they're postcard perfect. And there's so much potential on that.
Yeah, I agree, but we gotta move on. That's
Yeah.
something that we know they can't do with this money, so.
So-
Capacity building.
hmm.
What is that? So capacity building, this fund, it is a check mark, like it would apply to this fund. And so it's applying to say, we want to bring in some consultants, like the two ladies from Revere at the last meeting, to help us figure out how to get a project going forward. That we can't get off the table because we don't have the capacity as volunteers with a part-time CAO. So that's, does that make sense? So bringing in outside people to help us move forward on something.
Community building.
And you can use those funds to do that.
Not these funds, not community building funds.
You can.
Capacity
There's
building,
a
is certainly
capacity
one of the
building
topics.
stream.
Okay, so it's a different stream
Yeah.
from what this, like the community building fund
Yeah.
is
but I'm-
different from the CIP, I think.
It's within the community building fund.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've asked Curtis before about, getting a study done. And no,
For what?
Feasibility study or something?
yeah, it was a feasibility study for the
That's not-
shacks on the,
That's, yeah,
on the
that's,
riverbank.
that's the capacity building is listed
okay,
as a valid
cool,
topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so circle that one.
okay.
Sewer lagoon upgrade, that's scary.
Yeah,
I have no
that's a
idea.
government one.
That's big money. Now upgrade or replacement or just maintenance, just clean it. I mean,
Yeah.
We've got to get our heads wrapped around.
Yeah.
But this is a priority, like, is that why you're saying it's scary because it's kind of on fire?
Well, it's like something that's over there, we don't speak about it too much. but
Yeah,
We need, as a council, as a village, to understand that sewer operation better. Because it's our responsibility. You know, we've got a $50,000 bill that we use funds
Yeah,
for
but
this.
areas like this is the other side of that coin too, is when it does come to clean it out. If it's like they say, $1 million to $1.2 million,
Hmm.
right? There's no possible way we can even think of touching it.
But if
That's a government.
if another lift pump goes or a generator.
Yes, something like that, yes.
And I think your husband is trying to get a quote from someone to come and
Yeah, he's trying to get a quote from the engineers to come and do a study on the lagoon itself for its lifespan, to see what the sludge depth is, and
Yeah.
that alone could be $20,000-$30,000.
study.
And I don't think gas tax would pay for the study.
No, probably not. That's what I'm saying, is there's big money, keep that thing, it's running now and everything, it's great, but the hiccups, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you don't have.
Nothing for that.
So this is a priority, but it's not a building fund
Yeah,
project.
I don't know who it came from, but it's not scratched for everyone, it can't be on this list, but it's something we gotta, sewer group has to keep on top of. And then the final one was solar panels, perhaps at the sewer location area over there. I think that's
Just more solar panels somewhere.
What would these power?
pardon me,
What would they power? What's the purpose of them?
they can just be sold back to the grid. Just as a credit.
Oh, okay. Nothing to do with them, though, it's just using the.
No.
Who knows, maybe.
But maybe, but yeah, mostly we probably just feed it back into this grid. So I like the sound of that one. So quickly, I've got dog park, flooring in the hall, capacity building, solar panels. So we're from 20 down to 4, which is good. Dog park upgrade, we didn't speak about that one on purpose. I wanted to spend a little bit of time on that. I've heard a lot of people want a better dog park.
We love it.
Yeah, it is, it's well used, there's no question about it, it's used a lot. Right? The one on the south side is quite wet. Small dog park, I guess it is.
That could be rectified though.
Oh, yeah, well, anything can be fixed. We could raise the whole thing 20 feet in the air, if possible.
Well,
Put it
but
on
the
the
cheaper way, if you had drainage point there, them that made a little ditch or even a little ditch there.
That's the whole thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
We do it right.
Yeah.
We design it, we engineer it, we train it, we incorporate in a paved or at least crushed rock parking strip on the front side as part of the project. So it's an improvement in various areas, and drainage is just one of them. Right?
Yeah.
The shelters from the wind and the weather, the parking area, the designated spot.
Stuff
Missing
like-
the point.
Right?
I'm really missing the point on amazing discussion of the possibilities on a dog park. I don't go to the dog park either.
I can
I
speak.
know it's well used, and I know people appreciate it, but it's a field for dogs to run in.
Yeah.
And, it's just.
One thing I wouldn't mind seeing in there is maybe a little shelter for the dogs to just wander when it's right on a hot day or
A
something.
couple of big trees.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want trees. I'm honestly thinking, you don't want trees, Kelly, because they come up pain and you know what after.
A little shelter.
I'm talking not a little shelter, I'm talking like something like what are they called? You know what he goes,
Big umbrella.
Yeah.
You can just stick an umbrella in the bucket there.
The first thing that's
Honestly,
Sorry.
it's for the summer more than anything because it's so hot.
Yes.
Like you can really only go there in
We'll
the
take your
morning.
dog to the beach here.
It's not, there's people that come, that always talk to me how they come here and use our dog park from Montague in town, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And they do, it's like,
A little
Wow.
metal lock box at the entrance. Drop in your tuning, please.
That's
Voluntary.
Drop in fee.
Yeah, user fee, drop in your
They
tuning.
can drop something in there.
Yeah, they drop something.
Little baggies.
Comes in a little plastic bag.
System for people to pay, and people would, want people would.
I agree with you.
Just make sure the spots are
They do it, you know,
Even if you just said, thank you for your donation.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do we still
Donation
supply the
for-
That
dog
would be a bad idea,
Pantry
really,
or
have a little
whatever.
donation box.
Especially in short.
You know, secure, well, we did one out at the lighthouse, very secure, so because after hours donation, people put money in. And it's a secure metal box.
I just have a question because it still flabbergasts me every time I drive by the dog park. And I have no issue with doing the improvements to the dog park, but would it not make more sense to create one really nice one? I've never heard of a big dog and a little dog park. They don't exist
But there's,
anywhere
They
else.
need the
There's
fence.
one in town.
but there's some dogs
I've never
that
heard
get
of
along with other dogs.
And they
right?
shouldn't
That's
be there.
Well, that's
Need
not
a place to
nice.
go.
Exactly, because I have a dog
Need a
that's
place
like
to
that.
go.
No, they
Yes,
don't.
they-
I am very sorry. If you're going to not get along with other dogs, you need to keep your dog on leash.
But they run up and down and they're communicating.
Yeah.
And I like, it's just the way it is, and most dogs owners will probably tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I talk to people, we're
Yeah.
socializing there ourselves as humans.
Yeah.
I've just never heard of it before. Like, there are multiple dog parks in the city and stuff.
Everybody's saying.
And it's like the dog parks are for social dogs. If your dog is not social, then you don't bring your
There's
dog
one
to the
in
dog
Stratford
park.
that's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Two.
It's gonna be a PEI thing.
Yeah, it would-
Well, we
We
don't
like-
discriminate.
we like dogs that are-
We like all dogs, but
We
they
like dogs, yeah.
tear away.
But then they do, some would like to run.
And they do.
Okay,
Okay, what do you,
let's get back to
what's our
the solar
consensus?
panels
Yeah, I-
down by the dog park.
So the other thing I would just ask is, given our money limit, does that scratch any of these off as well for now?
if it's, let's say it's 150,000, I really don't, it's around that area, I hope. So, I mean, the flooring in the hall, what's that, is that $20,000,
Probably
you know,
20 to 25.
25?
I would say,
Maybe.
yeah.
I'd say 30.
It's probably
I'd say 30, 35.
What are we getting into? I mean, is it structural or is it just the?
No, it's just a surface, just a surface.
It's a very
tiles.
large circle.
Because the tiles are old, right? The tiles are ancient.
And they're probably asbestos, don't mention
Oh,
that.
don't-
They
John?
absolutely are underneath. The original ones are absolutely
We better not go there.
asbestos.
They are?
My husband gave a look. He said, yes, they are.
Can you tell?
Yes.
Yeah.
By the size of them.
Yeah.
They're a different
I have a
size.
towel.
If it's 9 by 9, it's asbestos.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heard that.
But, which is why probably to do the floor, we would just go right over top.
Yeah, we sliced out a little bit of.
You have to
floor
close the
for
building
floating
to the summer.
Yeah,
Remove it, wait 6 months before you can go back in.
Okay, let's just,
okay,
it's 7 o'clock, so let's just so let's say the flooring's 30. If we, capacity building,
I think that needs to be fleshed out more, wouldn't it? Like, what capacity are we trying to
Yeah.
build,
so
right?
Maybe
So,
set aside some 10 grand for it.
sure.
I mean,
I mean, I think
I
that's
would
trying
play
to-
around with something there, Gary, but do we, like, I mean, we don't need to, okay, yeah.
But with the capacity building, do we not need land to put this building on?
It's not, it's about our capacity as council to do this, to get projects done.
You should start taking notes. You're not listening.
it's building is a verb, not a noun.
Could I say on the solar panels, all for revenue generation, can we look at other properties we own as possible locations?
Well, that's why I mentioned
Yep.
Railhead Park.
Railhead Park, maybe it was very narrow strip, lots of shade there.
Okay.
If we built something
Why
in the
not
dog
over
park,
here?
we should put some.
Why not over by the dog
There's
park?
the shelter.
You got all that sun,
You could have a couple
no
of.
trees there, nothing.
strips
You
there.
could have a couple of strips
Well,
of
what we
them.
did on the roof cost about 65,000. So I expect it's not gonna be any cheaper.
Do
How
we have
much?
any more
So
capacity?
65.
65.
Was there any more capacity on
Small dog
Yeah.
this
park.
building?
There is some more in this building. There's
Yeah.
right over here.
What about our little building?
The little guy could have a couple panels on his thing, garage. So I guess there is opportunity for solar.
Yeah.
So, but maybe not
Like
30
even
kilowatt
on
we
the
got now.
lawn here,
Okay?
even on the lawn. Back here.
Mm.
I
The
was,
only thing is trees along here, right?
yeah.
But
I'm
it's still
thinking
gonna
if
get
it was
snow.
down, if it was down by the dog park,
Or behind.
where that's not being used anyway. But there would still have to be
Yeah, they could
access
go
there in
around.
case I ever had to get in with the tractor, because I've had to blow one out before.
Yeah, that's great.
I would
Yeah.
say that the bonus of putting them in this area as well is the fact that we do have CCTV. The other areas are much more remote,
Hmm.
so if there was any kind of vandalism, I
And
would
how-
be more likely to know.
For argument's sake, I'm gonna put 75,000 for solar.
Sure.
We have 10 for capacity building as a verb, not an noun. Flooring in the hall, 30K. So we're at 125 grand, 115 grand.
No money for dog park.
There's money for dog park.
What did you put next to dog?
Well, no, you bitch.
Oh,
So I could easily put,
And a little children.
it could be another, is it 25K for the dog park? You know, that's 55, 130, 140, that's, we're getting, I mean. So those 4 items,
I think with the dog park, if you were incorporating the parking lot and stuff as well.
Yeah.
You could be double that.
yeah, like a parking pad alone would be.
Well, you don't have to pave it though, you could gravel it for now, and if we get.
Well, that's what
funds down
we're
the
thinking.
road,
So you're
yeah.
talking
I
about
thought
a
you
separate
guys-
parking area for the dog park?
Yeah. You know, with the park on the side there,
Yeah.
instead of it being all tore up all the time.
Okay, so they can't park in the parking lot.
The parents.
Well, none of them do, they all park way over there, every one of them, John. Anyway, so I had brought it up to Gary and the village too about it, because, you know, it gets tore up there in the spring.
Hang on, I think we should expand that though, in order for it to be a little bit more palatable. It's not just for the dog park, it's
No.
for the community gardens, it's for
Correct,
the
yeah,
parents
yeah.
to park, for the kids playing ball hockey.
Yeah.
When that takes place, so it's
Yeah,
additional
that's true.
parking for events.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit
Yeah.
bigger than just
Yeah.
parking for the dog park.
so if we put 45 for the dog park upgrade, parking, whatever you wanna call it, 30 for the flooring at 75, 75 for the solar panel, 150, and we have 10 for capacity building, so we're probably, until we hear for sure from Kurt, that's a little bit, maybe a little bit over what we're gonna have available.
Yeah, because we have buffeted or buffered funds in other projects that we can transfer.
Yeah, we can't transfer to it unless we're gonna approve project.
Right.
So we gotta get these approved first, then.
Yeah.
move on.
And it's the
We're
end.
pulling a lot of numbers out of the air. Could I suggest we prioritize what it is we want and then get actual quotes on them?
Thing is, we don't, time is not on our side. We've got to the end of the month to make the application. And it has to have a resolution from council if you accept it. So,
So the process is at first we have to frame in an application into the fund, and then they say, yeah, that's an eligible project, and then we go down the road and say, okay, how do we actually get this
It's
done?
actually going to cost.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Am I
we try to estimate as best we can.
Yeah.
When we fill out a capital investment plan, you know, you gotta put, you know, design and engineering, front end costs, and you got your construction and your, you know, your contingencies and your, you know, all this stuff has to be all in there, you know. But it's only a guess if we actually get actual quotations. And it's just, like I say, we've gotten to the end of April to submit something. And they want us to allocate the full amount of our first 5 years of the 10-year program. So if we don't get it in this time, the next intake isn't until the fall. And they won't allocate any money again unless we have it all.
Because we didn't get
You're
our
right.
October disbursement because we weren't allocated.
Because the mistake they made.
Well, put it in with our numbers, it should be fine too. 3,500 square feet of floor, it's gonna be $20 a square foot, $50 a square foot, or 150. Until we look into it.
So can we pass a resolution and like,
saying that we've
we've
identified these
identified 4
four?
areas and this is the estimated cost of each?
I don't even think
Do
you
we
have
have
to
a
put
number?
a number in,
Don't put a dollar
just you
value,
wanna pursue
these 4.
these 4 projects with the community building fund.
And that's all they'll need when we submit the
Yeah.
capital investment plan, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's,
So,
so they don't need to know the number at this
No.
point, that's good. Because they can't tell us their target.
dog park improvement,
Or upgrade, I don't know, they get kind of anxious about improvements or maintenance issues, they don't like to give money to those kind of things, I would say.
yeah, it's all in the wording,
Upgrade.
so
Yeah.
upgrade.
Enhance.
Flooring, new flooring in the hall.
Upgrade flooring.
And based on, ideally, depending on how the numbers shake out, ideally, it would be nice if we can do the flooring like continuous through, like
True, yeah.
Yeah,
main hall, kitchen.
they might balk at flooring. Because it's a maintenance, a wear and tear issue.
Called a
No, it's
safety
not
issue,
great.
non-slip, wheelchair accessible.
They say no.
Check it out.
Capacity building. And solar panels. It doesn't have to be the moon area anywhere. Okay, yeah,
Motion to approve those 4 projects.
she's gonna read the resolution first.
So council approved the pursuit of the following community building fund projects: dog park upgrade flooring in large hall, capacity building, and additional solar panels.
Motion to approve.
We have another name other than dog park upgrade.
Yeah,
Outdoor facility
Yeah.
on southeast west corner. What do we want to call it?
Canine.
Canine exercise facility upgrade.
recreational park up.
Yes.
Yeah, recreation,
Something that way.
Recreational park
Accessibility upgrade.
It is for
It's more for the owners from what I'm hearing.
What's that?
It is about the accessibility of the park too, like,
Yeah.
I can't remember her name. Like she.
Accessibility to
Jackie
outdoor
did here.
recreation area.
Yeah, with her
Yeah.
daughter to, and
Yeah.
then showed it to other people, like, recreational, Gordon, she uses Sandra, she drives right up, because she needs accessibility.
Didn't we already do a recreational area upgrade with the soccer field?
Yeah, something to that effect. Yeah,
So we might have to work on that name.
well, call it that for now.
Yeah.
This is phase 2.
Yes, that is all a big recreational.
Yeah.
Sam, you're motioning?
Yes.
I second it.
All in favor?
He's falling asleep up there.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Maintenance and infrastructure. I've only been able to get 2 quotes, one for painting and one for each job for this building. Mallard Painting responded to me with a total of $17,651 before tax. So just over, we get our tax back in it, so $17,600,
Except for the whole building,
the whole exterior, yeah.
because we've spoken of doing a phase over 40.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk to you about in a second. So our maintenance budget's only 24, isn't it, Ann? What do we go for this year? Yeah. where did it go? Here's more. Yeah, our total maintenance budget as approved by us a month or so back is 24K. So there's 18 grand right there for the painting. And the eaves trough, once again, we can phase it north and south, whatever, is about $4,000. So between those two, our budget's gone. But there's still just a bit of, if you looked at that letter that we got from our little people of government, and this of course has to be up to you guys to allow this, they gave us this one-time shot in the arm of $15,000. There's an annual grant of 15 grand we'll introduce to all rural municipalities, which is kind of nice of them. My ask to you guys is, do you want to phase in painting, phase in eaves trough, or can we discuss and maybe vote on increasing my maintenance budget by 15 grand? And do it all. Do all the painting and all the eaves trough.
Which side of the building takes the worst brunt?
The worst what?
South
Takes the worst
side.
damage?
South side.
South side?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can at least start with that.
South and west will get the sun and the weather worse than.
Yeah, this side's probably under mold.
Yes.
Now, I've asked Mallory, will they split it up? You know, and what would that cost, you know, do half this year and half next year, she got back to me yet.
Is there anybody else that we can ask for quote?
I asked.
You can
It's
ask
hard to
all the
get
people
the
who
answer.
want
I've
to
asked
hear
so
it.
many
That's all you
people.
want.
Too busy, can't
They're
do
a
it.
good company.
Valid.
Yeah, they are.
Oh.
Yeah.
I spoke to 3 other contractors and they're just, sorry, man, can't help you.
No.
Travis McLean, just down the road, booked for the whole year.
Okay.
Isn't it good the economy's looking so strong?
And same with eavesdropping, you know, the gutter guy and,
Yeah.
Is that who quoted you?
No. this
Oh,
is
he's
a
too busy.
Easy Flow,
Oh,
which public out here is my nephew. He's the only guy that responded.
Kira McLeod, Summerside, traffic.
They don't even return your phone calls. You know, it's terrible.
well,
So busy, so they like doing all those, you know, big housing complexes that are being built. They can stay on site for like a month, you know? Yeah. So anyway, we can try to phase it out and not destroy our $24,000 maintenance budget on 2 projects. Because I'm sure there's other things we want to get done. Or we can look at this 15K that's suddenly going to be given to us and say, well, do we want to use that for maintenance? Or do we want, no, I got my 24K, that's it.
so the 15 comes, no strings attached,
No,
use it how you want.
It's a new thing, it's right there
it's
highlighted.
a $15,000 grant that's being given to small municipalities. We talked about it last week at the board meeting.
I think it'd be nice to do it all in one.
I agree. I think it's
Yeah.
like bite the bullet, let's get it done.
Or keep the man on the dry and do it over 4 years.
Oh, God.
That's if you
Or-
can get somebody, that's if you
Yeah,
can even get somebody to
do it.
do it.
Yeah.
Like 2 years or
Mallory
half 1 year, half next year, I don't know.
Mallory wants like a down payment just to get on their list.
Yeah.
This is how busy these guys are, right? It's wild.
Even when a car dealer asks for $200 deposit on the phone to make an appointment to come and look at your car.
Is that?
We'd like to keep your damn car.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, we're going to book a time for you. We'll give you $2 for your 200 comes back if you come and look at the car, but we're not going to have someone waiting for you and then you don't show. It's like restaurant reservations. You want to deposit now,
Right.
you make a reservation.
Now, as in
It's a
any,
changing world.
as in any contractor, there's lots of ifs, ands, and buts in here, so their value of 17.6 could easily be 20,006, you know, it's just like allowance for Sunrise Soft Wash, which could fluctuate up or down once built. So, yeah,
Is that to wash the building?
they wash the, I guess they use that.
Power wash it to get any.
Clean
Yeah.
it
Instead of
up,
scraping
get
by
all
hand,
the
they
How much
stuff off,
scraping, if
Yeah.
there's mold.
What if there's shakes that need to be replaced?
There you
They
go.
don't do
We
those.
have to get those done.
You have to
This is
be
my
careful
point
to
to this.
do that.
Yeah.
This is 17.6 minimum, plus or minus 10, 15%, it could be 20 grand easily. Damn.
But even if it came up to 20 grand, Gary, that's 5 out of your maintenance budget, and it's all done.
Yeah.
And we kind of looked at that in our maintenance, that painting would be part of it, didn't we?
That was our priority,
Yeah,
yeah, but it's priority to eat our entire budget.
well, if we use that,
But if we get that 17, or 15,000,
yeah. That,
That would give me
That
a
would
bit of
help.
wiggle room,
that would give you some wiggle
but I
room.
think to keep that on straight in, we'd have to have a vote to increase my budget, but that's a significant.
Yeah.
That's from 24 to 39,000. So that would have to be a vote amongst us to allow that to happen, I think. It's not like you're going over a couple $100 or $1,000, something that's humongous. Same as we did with the Rural Ghost Initiative, we had to put that 22 grand somewhere, and we talked about it and go, yeah, we'll put it in the maintenance budget for last year, so. So if that's the consensus around the table, I'd like to propose a resolution that we increase the infrastructure maintenance budget by $15,000 to allow us to paint this building and leave straw.
Where are we taking the money from? What line are we reducing?
This is 15 grand.
Oh,
We're
We're
getting-
getting
just
an
the
extra-
With the extra
we're getting an
15
extra.
coming in, yeah.
So it's not going into anybody else's area.
So it's not building
That's the beauty of
effort anyway.
Yeah.
I honestly do.
Found
remember
money,
that,
still
yeah.
didn't get it done.
Yeah.
I agree,
We had agreed we were doing it, so.
Yeah.
Why not use their money?
that's right.
Okay.
There you go. So council approve increasing the maintenance and infrastructure budget from 24,000 to 39,000 using the grant of $15,000 from the provincial government.
I would suggest we say we're going to use the $15,000 to supplement the budget rather than change the budget, which could be a rolling issue of it, rather than increase the budget.
Do we
This
even
is a
mention,
one-off.
do we even have to mention that in there,
Yeah,
in the resolution? Just
We don't need to
We're
raise the
agreeing
budget,
with
just say we're going to
24,
spend.
yeah.
Okay, so,
So
yeah,
there's
so not using, not
24
saying
to
anything about the
You
grant.
know where,
We know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So council approve increasing the maintenance and infrastructure budget from 24,000 to 39,000.
yes.
Yes.
Is that what
No,
you meant?
that's not what I meant, because we can't be guaranteed of this 15,000 every year. So I wouldn't like to see.
No, it
No,
was
it's
just-
just for 1 year,
Yeah, So
right?
then we're going to use the $15,000 grant to supplement the maintenance budget this year.
Yeah, so.
well, we don't have to say that. We don't just put that in the resolution,
I don't know, why do we even need the resolution?
because my budget's going
He's
so
moving
much
it up.
higher right now.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at increasing the budget line this year, there it is. Next year it can roll in, or we'll have to bring it back down, whereas this is just money coming in. Give it to Gary, paint the building.
Get it done.
No, but it's looked up line by line every year, so
Yeah.
next year.
Okay, so just put for 2025,
One off, 2020.
1 year.
for this year. And then we know that it's to cover the
Because next
painting.
year we're
It's
going
not
to
a standing
No,
arrangement.
it's not forever and ever and ever again.
Okay, third turn lucky. Council approve increasing the maintenance infrastructure budget from 24,000 to 39,000 for the 2025-2026 budget.
Motion.
And you were mentioning where the money's coming from.
Seconder,
Oh, weird.
Oh. all in favor?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Don't
you,
say
Gary.
better be pretty. Who's picking the color?
I was gonna say, are we changing colors?
North and
That
Recreation,
quote's based on not changing colors.
So I have asked Oscar and Gary and I are gonna be in a committee unless there's anyone else that wants to join us.
And
I'm sure there will be.
newsletter.
We have to pass a resolution.
Newsletter.
We did already?
Yes.
It's done.
Where you did?
He's counting.
Yeah.
He's over there saying, we can't change the color, by the way.
Which is true.
The thing I wanted to say about the newsletter is, I haven't set a date, for when to put it out because I wanted to loop back with you guys to make sure that it's lined up with any events that anybody has. So originally we were thinking about lining it up with the Fisher's dedication, but that date is not nailed down yet. So I didn't know if an open house was imminent and you wanted to make sure it was in a newsletter. I just wanted to bring that forward here. But it is imminent, like I'm looking at a May timeline.
Okay.
But if anybody has anything that they want to make sure I'm out in front of, like, just please let me know. But that's everything I want to say about the newsletter. And I will obviously reach out to everybody to get your event information and all that stuff for summer stuff. Did anybody have any questions?
Well,
About the newsletter?
I was just thinking for Canada Day,
Yeah,
we were gonna rent that bouncy castle.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we put something in the newsletter if someone would want to sponsor that,
that you're looking for sponsors?
a sponsor for it?
Sure.
And that way, it would be more profit for us for Canada Day.
But the company that sold us the kitchen appliances, they might be interested in sponsoring something.
Yes, who was
They
that?
didn't, it was all part of, under the contractor, we didn't buy them separately.
I can definitely do that. Any ideas?
I
Like
can,
anything
I can
that,
write something up
yeah,
for it.
anything that anybody wants
Yeah.
promoted, like, happy to include it in the newsletter. Yeah. for
Do you guys
sure.
have any idea? I did send both of you an email, but I didn't hear back from you. Regarding, when you are thinking you might be doing the dedication. The reason why I'm asking is I know I've spoken to both of you like individually around whether or not we could do the grand reopening of the community center and tie it into the dedication. It would be nice to be able to tie them all in together.
Well, short answer is no, we haven't got a date. I've been trying to get a hold of a couple of individuals and get no response. That would help me last year, when we're all set to go and the weather crapped on us and we couldn't get it done. And I haven't been able to get any response from them about the idea at the time, the last time we met several months ago was headed around May 24 weekend. But I don't know. As a fisher, what do you think, Terry? Like, you guys are right in the middle of your season.
Yeah.
So is it better for you as a fisher? Obviously, it's critical to have you guys there. Whether it's before the season, I can't see that happening now. It's 2 weeks
Probably
away.
better after the season.
After Landing Day,
Yeah,
which pushes into July.
I'm thinking.
How long
I'm
do they
thinking
let
after-
the
you're trying to have
traps
it
in the
after
water?
Canada Day first, have it after Canada Day.
So
When?
mid-July.
Yeah, sometime in July, or the second week of July or something.
Would the
like that.
traps be off the wharf by then?
No,
No.
What about the August first holiday? So
The August one weekend.
Why don't you, now that we're talking, I know we're gonna talk about tonight, that's why I'm gonna come back to you. I'll try again to get a hold of the other parts of that committee and then say, listen, we gotta sit down and talk about our plans for this memorial. I don't know if either one of them actually are even on the island right now, because they were traveling or something. So it might be hard to get a hold of them. Anyway, not a very good answer for you,
Yeah.
No.
but,
And then the thing is about moving it during the summer, like people are gone.
yeah, that's
Like
the thing.
people are on
Yeah.
vacation.
Maybe
they're
we
not-
should just go with the 24th and, or whatever
those
date
that can
you
attend,
talk.
will attend, eh?
But,
Those that can attend
can
will be
attend,
there.
will attend,
Well,
and who can't, what time
we
is
did it
that?
that
What do you
weekend.
plan, what time?
Oh, just
During the
end of
day.
day, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you say during the day, go fishermen, that.
I don't
could be-
know.
You
I'm
know
not.
what I mean? I'm just,
It's like 5 or 6 o'clock or 6 o'clock.
well, if it
7
was
o'clock.
at like say 5 o'clock or something, everybody's doing
6
10
o'clock.
anyway, as a
On a
rule.
Saturday,
On a Saturday.
or what day?
Maybe on the
Maybe.
20%.
Can you have it on a Sunday?
I was just gonna say that, you guys don't fish on Sundays.
Yeah. We could have it.
We could do it on a Sunday.
And I know that Harborview, Kelly are interested in maybe giving us, having a special day there too, eh?
Yeah.
At the same time, or something. But you guys are open soon, I guess, eh? But I like the idea of this official opening here, maybe having a Harbor Day, combined with it,
Hmm.
the Heritage Park, opening up.
It'd be nice to have it going before, just people see it, and then us having it afterwards is gonna,
So May,
I'm thinking May, have it in May.
let me talk to those gals again and we'll try to get together and sit down. Hammer out a date.
So that's who Jackie and Carol.
Yeah.
You're doing this for them. That's where she-
Carol, I think is home or she left or
They
something.
came, there was something the last time I met that they were both gonna be here, then they're both gonna be gone, and I don't.
Okay.
Can we move on to Project Nectar?
Yeah, sure, that's all I had for the newsletter, sending your exciting announcements. Next, Project Nectar, I talked a lot already, about the update that I got there from them about the funding. I don't think I had anything else to say, I'll just review that. Basically, my feedback to them was let's get more concrete on what it is you're trying to do, put it in writing and come to the next council meeting. Because one, I will clarify this point, one of the things she was saying that she feels like United Way would feel better about is seeing like a resolution or something from the council that they actually have, they have our support, right? To
Yeah.
tap into the water or whatever it is that
Yeah.
they're looking to do. So so anticipate them coming to our next meeting to explain in more detail what they're hoping to do, and they're hoping to get a resolution from us so they can take that back to their funder.
Mhm.
Sewage utility.
Is there, did Margaret have,
Yep, she did. I think there was.
I have it here, Ian.
Okay.
It just says Lawrence is following up on the engineer's report. The committee will meet once we have that information.
And I can add, after speaking with Tracy, sewage utility is going to need to do a budget and follow up with Sam on where that package went, because there's nothing on the website about an increase. So, I'll
well,
talk
we
to her.
can't do an increase until we get it approved by.
Yeah, but there's
IRAC.
nothing on IRAC's site, so I don't know where that paperwork went. I emailed it to Sam in December.
They're saying they haven't received
Oh.
it.
So
Okay.
there's nothing in the works for an increase
Oh,
at
dear.
the moment. So I'll talk to Margaret on Friday,
Okay,
but we need to do a budget for sewage utility. And I don't know if you want Margaret and I to just do that, or
If
if
you
you wanna
would,
have
yeah.
a meeting.
yeah,
Once you guys have like all of this budget stuff figured out and you have the engineer's report and that in, or I'm wondering if we could get a presentation at a council meeting. I do not understand sewage, and the thing is it has the potential to significantly impact our budget.
Mm.
And I think we need to have a better understanding of like, what is the sewer lagoon? How long is it supposed to last? What is a lift pump? Like, just some of the basic stuff so that we understand is probably one of the biggest expenses we could potentially incur in the village, and we don't know anything about it.
So I guess that would be Stephen that would do that?
Steve, and he would be the
Yeah,
educated man on that,
Stephen McKay.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just to get a better understanding, because it's like every time we talk about sewer, like everybody goes,
Well, it is, it's just, it's crazy, because I know me and Stephen had talked about it, and he said like it could be 700, it could be 800,000, it could be over 1 million.
Yeah.
And to clean it out and have it removed.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
in
just,
all honesty, like I said, we had, at one of the meetings, I had said this, I said, like, this is a provincial thing, this is not us. There's no way we can come up with that kind of money.
No.
And, you know, how do you, we couldn't go borrow money, $1 million against,
and we wouldn't,
no, definitely not.
half of our community isn't
You
even
know.
on it. Like, how do we go and ask for money?
I mean, it really bounces back. I don't think we should be as concerned, other than with lift pumps and stuff like that. The actual state place itself, the lagoon itself,
Mhm.
in all honesty, the way I feel about that's a provincial thing.
But even when we
I mean,
initially came on to council though, Terry, and there was this whole conversation that took place around, oh, well, you know, we have to have 50,000 in our budget. We just bought a lift pump, so now you guys have to give us 50,000. I'm like, whoa, wait, like,
Exactly.
so that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to understand. It's like, what do you mean you need to have 50,000 in your budget, and if your lift pump goes, I have to pay for it? Like, where did that come from? So it's just trying to get a handle on that part of
Maybe
it.
there's somebody from the municipal group that is educated on these kinds of arrangements. that
Well,
should
we
be
did
done.
have
There's been
Steve
from a
and
governance
Lawrence
perspective.
in
Yeah.
too, Albert, and they went through some of the stuff with the bulbs and different things like that, right? But I mean, those big, the cleanup on one of them. There's no way we could ever touch it. To be honest.
What's the precedent on PEI? What's the legal requirement? You have a sewage system. Are you legally responsible to,
Other communities.
which I expect you are, but we can't do it, there's no money. So what other communities do?
Kingmore, I know for sure.
What are they responsible to maintain?
They own their own lagoon and sewer lines.
As we do.
And they charge and they bill,
Yeah.
so I don't know,
What happens
like,
when
yeah,
the
but I just
$1
mean
million
it's being done,
ticket comes in?
exactly. That's why I'm wondering if the municipal group would have some answers
Yeah.
within the, like,
Well,
we're
we
thinking
gotta-
the
we
provincial
gotta work-
government has a
The
role.
government should really have an idea too, really, on lagoons. I know there's different size ones, but I mean, they should know roughly by the capacity of people, or how many people are using it. Like say there's 300 as opposed to 1 million using it, how quick it fills up compared to the one with 300. I mean, they should have a ballpark idea of, is it 15 years, is it 20 years, is it 25 years
Average
before
is
it needs?
30,
Average is 30.
and we're at 28.
And what we were
And is our
always just
lagoon
saying,
based on the size of the
we were always at
population
this
or is?
capacity, we had far fewer in
Yes.
early years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's not running at capacity, I do remember that from when Ocean Acres was talking about joining in.
Hmm.
So I wanna say it's running at about 65%
Uh-huh.
capacity.
How much?
65%.
So that would, again, lengthen your longevity.
And how many people go away for the winter?
Yeah.
So there's so many factors we don't know.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what that study that Lawrence is looking at, the engineers would do and tell you
Yeah, that's
exactly
what I'm looking for, just
is exactly
Mhm.
where in, you'll need to dredge out this much. But it-
Like that.
But that's gonna
and it's
cost
not
money
just
now.
as simple as
Just
dredging
the
it in, they
reports.
gotta have something.
Yeah, that's
to
gonna be
do
it,
that,
right, like the report's
You
gonna cost
can
money
even
now.
make pump that.
And
So
then
who's paying?
They must have put lines.
They have to just get Joe off the street and pump it out. It has to be moved, the stuff.
So what they dredge out, from what I remember Lawrence saying, what they dredge out, they take and they put it on these special,
Drying racks or something.
yeah.
Something
They
like
put
that.
it dries out and then the
really
liquid goes back in.
You said you.
And then the
Not that.
solid matter can then be sprayed as fertilizer.
Yay.
You might like something
Anybody
there.
want to? For your next.
You can say you.
Okay, so let's do.
Okay.
Okay, EMO.
Okey doke, so all of the construction work has been completed, including what was on the deficiency list. The inspection on the accessible doors has been done and work has been approved, yay, Ann. Our cool blinds are up. And the theater curtains are on order, as Ann said. All the final paperwork has been submitted to the province, and we have received the balance of the funds that were due to us, and we'll be planning to paint the other dark area on the opposite side of the stage soon. So that's asking Gary to buy his paint, and Ann, Marlene, and I are gonna go at it and get it done, have a painting party. Just so that it matches how nice and bright it is on the other side.
No, I just bring up, and I mentioned to Ann, it's probably already in tow, that we're gonna need a new fire evacuation plan. We've closed doors and created new corridors. And and I expect there's going to be an exit sign, lit emergency exit sign over the double doors from the main room. I don't know, but clearly there's some emergency planning still needs to be completed on this project.
Yeah.
In this corridor, it will never pass. It's that emergency exit with all that clutter in it.
Okay, that's not me.
No, but now that we finished the renovations.
Who told you that wouldn't pass, John?
There's too much clutter in it, it should be.
Did government say that?
Someone.
Because I'll tell you what, as a fireman,
Pretty good.
as a volunteer fireman, there should be no problem with that.
Okay,
I mean, if,
anyway, the doors aren't where they were on the evacuation plan, on these signs.
I do think there should be some kind of lighted sign for where you're coming in through. so
Yeah,
people
there's only,
know.
yeah, that's only
Are going out.
one, there
Yeah.
was only one change, that whole.
Yeah, like, yeah, it should be, have exits on it, you know? They're like coming through from the kitchen area into this room in here. There's
Yeah.
nothing there that shows that there's,
We have someone that deals with all our signs, they have, use a little.
But I'm just saying that now that we've changed the layout of the building,
yeah,
our
Oh,
evacuation
definitely.
routes have changed,
yeah.
and we have outdated maps on the walls. And this is something that needs to be completed as part of the project.
Definitely. Anything else?
Would you need to have the fire marshal come through, what's
It
the?
wouldn't
I think
hurt,
that's a great idea.
wouldn't hurt one bit.
Yeah. Tell
Well,
us exactly what he
have him come
wants
back
and
in
then
and-
I'll have to guess what he wants.
Not having them come back until those curtains are.
Nope. We got so much grief over this curtains, no,
The stage curtains?
Yeah. because they're flammable.
Yeah.
Very crappy piece of cotton and that's it.
So I can arrange that once those curtains are up.
How many years ago? It's not about the day off.
Yeah, it's
Burns
all
paint
around. EMO, we done with that?
We sure.
Okay, fundraising, I
Fundraising.
need money. Councilor White,
Next event is the lobster setting day. We're gonna have muffins.
Easter's first.
Easter extravaganza first, isn't it?
Easter's first. isn't it?
Yeah.
First.
No, yes, it should be first. That's all. We have one more meet before that.
Yeah.
I think it's next week, 14th.
Yeah.
And, then it's the lobster setting. And we got all the people we need for muffins. We just need to have the tea and coffee, and we can use Jeff Belvin down there for if it rains or whatever.
Can we drink coffee and muffin?
Yeah, and there's power there, but I think that's our power order, isn't it? Has anything been
On that.
looked into about that?
Did anybody shut that up? No, it's still, it's about $20 a month. What is
What's
setting
the-
day?
Setting is the 25th, isn't it?
So right now, yeah, it'll depend on,
April weather.
we gotta get closer.
It's on a Friday.
That's
Right.
just, I say we gotta get closer to the date because it could change, right? It could be windy.
Yeah.
I mean, ice is probably not gonna be a factor, but
No,
wind and,
that's all.
What time of day are you planning to be set up for that?
For when they come in after their first set.
that,
So
that
it'd be
could
something like 7:30.
7:30 in that
So
range.
it's not like 4 and.
Not
No,
before they,
no,
no, point
no.
that. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So the land lovers at 7:30, 7.
Yeah.
Hey, I was out there last year.
You like it?
No new business,
It was beautiful.
is there? I don't
We
see
get
anything on here. So we have a motion to adjourn.
You went to watch the
I
play.
went down to the wharf.
You know what?
Yeah.
Gary. Kelly's on the side.
I run a business.
Adjourning.
Adjourn, yes.
It was beautiful.
All in favor?
It's 7:40.
Sorry?
Yes. You seem to be in the.
It's an argument against having a fire evacuation plan after renovations. It's just a schwab. That's off the minutes.
Oh, no, we're not.
No, not at all.
What's
No
that?
argument.
No, I'm trying to think, I'm like, okay, what did I change? What needs to be looked at?
They're gonna
And it's
just
I think-
one hallway.
The only thing that has to be changed would be the.
Just
For the signage,
the map.
where you're coming through, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, the new hallway.
and I mean, if it was fire, you would see, well, you might see it,
Yeah.
but 9 times
And
it's.
the, community schools closing, not that we're that many people, but the big room full of people. There's one exit sign, goes off to the left of the stage, into a dark area, down some stairs, and the door is locked. And
Well, it's locked from the inside, so.
so if it's dark, you wouldn't know where.
Yeah.
It should
Yeah.
have a push bar on